This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Corey O'Leary here on this Wednesday, January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you had a good time last night. Hope you drank too much and you're hurt this morning and you got nothing to do but sit and listen to us. Hope it's sounding okay, because if it sounds like we're traveling, I am. Heading to Jacksonville, Florida, as Indiana takes on the Tennessee Volunteers in the Taxslayer Gator Bowl tomorrow. Todd Leary, I'm looking forward to that. How was your New Year's night?
It was early. It was early. Yep, I know. In your preparation for getting up early, I know you went to bed early, and I probably came close to tying you.
I bet I did see 12 o'clock.
Did you?
I actually did. I didn't intend to, but I did. So, but I was in bed when I saw it. So I did see it. And
do us all a little bit of a favor and pull that microphone just a little bit farther away from your mouth.
A little deep.
It's a little animated, yeah.
Well, I was afraid that they would get scratchy if I let it.
That is much better. Thank you.
There we go. Perfect. But yeah, no, I was in bed when that ball dropped, baby. I was not far behind either. I fell asleep shortly thereafter.
Well, then I definitely beat you, because I did not come close to seeing it.
I didn't think that you would have.
No.
I don't think we missed much.
I'm probably marking about 6 or 8 years in a row now. I have not made it to midnight.
We got a streak going, man.
Yep, for sure.
Got a streak going. Yeah, I was noticing on social media yesterday, a lot of people were talking about that very thing. How many people are going out to who's staying home? I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen people talking about staying home last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool when you were in college and stuff like that, or maybe just after college. But once you get older, and
it was cool up to about 5 years ago.
Yeah, not me.
Most people grow up a lot sooner than I do. Yeah, there's an issue there.
True.
So
true. With
you get no argument from me about that. Bowl games yesterday. I watched some fun bowl games. Gosh, dang it, Virginia Tech. I was so furious with Virginia Tech. Kentucky's football team basically is not that good. They have one guy. That one guy is pretty tough. But here's the deal. Did you see that yesterday before the game? Before the Belk Bowl?
Yeah.
He throws a punch. Not only does he throw a punch, he then pushes a Kentucky coach, and nothing happens to him. It's like he's playing for Mark D'Antonio. Bob Stoops, that's Bob Stoops, right? Get the Stoops brothers confused. Is about as tough on people as Mark D'Antonio is. No, absolutely no repercussions.
How does that happen on the field prior to the game? I mean, I understand. I guess there's a time frame.
1 hour. It's like free reign. It's so like, I guess you can take a bat and beat on some people or whatever. You can do whatever you want up until that hour, because your own staff apparently is not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, you know what will happen out of that now will be they'll either not
There's
let anybody.
Changes.
They'll not let anybody on the field prior to an hour before, or they'll have the officials start being out on the field earlier than that. Because that could have been a melee. That could have been terrible.
Well, he's not really their quarterback. He's quarterbacking because their real quarterback got hurt, and they basically instituted a wildcat system, no pun intended. But he doesn't throw the ball. Of course, he threw for the winning touchdown, but it was like an 8-yard throw. But they simply couldn't stop that dude, man.
Yeah,
he was. I'm not gonna call him Lamar Jackson because he's not, but it was Lamar-esque.
Well, running the ball was Lamar-esque, but I mean,
Yes.
That's what makes Lamar Jackson so much better than the scrambling quarterbacks we talk about now in college, because
Dude can
he
throw
he
that
can
pill,
throw the
man.
ball right. He throws it not only a long
He
ways,
can throw
but he's
that
accurate.
pill.
He's accurate.
Dude is lighting them up. I mean, he's making everybody look stupid who said, well, yeah, you should be a running back or whatever.
Boy.
Good. He's doing stuff that no one has ever done in the history of the National Football League.
How about what Texas did to Utah last night?
Embarrassed them.
I mean, all we heard about. I mean, Utah was a hair away from being in the college football playoffs, and they couldn't even stop Texas last night. And I know they had 2 injuries and they had 1 player sit out. I get it, but still, I mean, that's a drumming they took.
Texas looked really good, though. I got to give them that. They looked really good. They were throwing the ball good.
But isn't that a part of like what your team's supposed to be good? I mean, Utah's defense was supposed to be a top 3 defense in the nation, and Texas just ran all over them. I mean, and Texas is good. Texas has a good quarterback. They've got a great receiver, but my gosh, I mean, your defense doesn't get dominated like that if you truly are a top 3 in the nation defense. I mean, I'm glad they didn't end up in the. Well, I guess they couldn't have looked a whole lot worse than Oklahoma did against LSU, but
you're right.
But that would have been even uglier.
They were 7.5-point favorite over Texas too.
Yeah, and lost by 20. It lost 38-10. I mean, and it wasn't even that close.
No, they were never in that game.
Did they score in the first half? Was it? They have 0 at halftime? I think they had 0 at halftime.
I don't remember.
It was a late game, and so I didn't make it through the whole thing, but I made it through the first half, and I'm pretty sure they had 0 at halftime.
Yep. Indiana women, they're looking good, man. I think the women may be the favorite to win the Big Ten championship.
Well, it'd be hard to argue with that right now. I mean, the other, was it Minnesota, the other ranked team?
Maryland. Got to see them against Maryland. But they went to Rutgers, and Rutgers may not be ranked right now, but Rutgers is one of those programs that has just been a dominant program on the women's side for quite some time. You got Vivian Stringer, who has been there coaching for a while. She is very successful, and they went up on the road and handled business. I mean, they struggled a little bit at the end when Rutgers started putting the full court pressure to them, but they withstood it and took the punches and got out of there with a nice, beautiful road win.
Yeah, and you know what was kind of nice about it was the fact that, they led after the first quarter by 1. They led by 3 at halftime, and then they kind of imposed their will in the third quarter and got it up to about a 10-point lead, and then just played solid, made their free throws, which is a nice thing to be able to say about an Indiana team.
They had four players in double figures. I think Pat Berg had 9, so she's right there. They've got like 5 players that are really close to averaging 10 points a game. It's amazing the balance that they have.
It's just
crazy.
It's difficult to prepare for them when they've got that many people that can step up. And we've mentioned a new leading scorer about every day, but Jalen Penn with 14-7 last night and Grace Berger with 13-7. I mean, those are pretty good, 2 good performances.
I was thinking about this last night, and this may not be fair, but if you compare the women's team to the men's team in free throw shooting, the women's team would kick the crap out of the men's team. And I'm not trying to be sexist, but I just don't think that should be the case. But it is the case.
Well, I mean, the comparison doesn't need to be made. It's not a matter of the women are better than the men at free throw shooting. It's a matter
because
of the men are bad. I mean, the comparison doesn't need to be made. It needs to be said the men need to be better at free throw shooting. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, it's not a matter.
You're correct.
Half 3/4 of the nation is better than Indiana's men's basketball team at shooting free throws.
And that's just it doesn't even matter if they play basketball or not.
No, that's just the people. That's not teams. That's just people.
Oh, absolutely. What games did you watch? What did you do yesterday? Did you watch some games? Obviously, we talked about the one.
Yeah, I watched the football games. I mean, I hate to admit I watched that Virginia Tech Kentucky game, and that was just painfully. I don't have any reason to hate them other than they're Kentucky. I was rooting against Kentucky, obviously, and that did not end up the way that we were hoping. But that's the breaks. I squeezed in a little bit of basketball. I watched Butler last night. My gosh, did you see that Butler game?
I did not.
They were ahead.
Is that the one that they
36
they
to
let?
17.
Did they let Seton Hall go on like a 17-0 run or something?
They were ahead 36-17 at halftime, and it was tied at 46s. I mean,
wow.
It was crazy. But Butler ended up pulling it out 60-58 at the end of the game. But man, I'll tell you, Butler has very quietly snuck up into the 11th ranked spot in the country, and they're you've got to give their coach and players. I mean, they don't have as much talent. I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm being a jerk in saying that, but they don't have as much talent as I think they've had in the past several years, and they are playing well, and they're.
I don't think they have talent. I think they don't have the same talent as a lot of teams that are under them, and they're doing that. It's amazing. And you talk about Butler and coaching decisions. Man, I've talked about this before. They have done so well at replacing their coaches every time. I don't know that they've had a mistake since the first guy they hired that's now their athletics director.
Yeah.
They have replaced one after another, and it's worked. Man, you want to take a page out of somebody's book, go to Butler.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting situation because, as has happened before and probably will continue to happen. But if they have this kind of success and they finish the year making the tournament and being ranked, he'll get offered a job somewhere else and he'll move on from there. And it's an unfortunate circumstance because of the size of the university and they just don't pay the money.
Yeah, they can't afford to pay it really, I guess. But at some point you'd think that if you can continue to have that success, that you could build that program enough to where you could afford to pay a coach more, or at least closer where you can keep them.
If it's not already at that point, then I don't know that it's going to get there because they've had extreme success. I mean, back-to-back Final Fours.
They don't have, unlike teams like Indiana, they don't have the Big Ten money that behind them. They don't. That's what gives the teams like that an advantage is they get that big old jackload of Big Ten money, and you can do a lot of things with that.
Well, yeah, it is. But I mean, the difficult part of the way that they have gone about it, they've done great due diligence and they've hired really well. So maybe it'll continue on, but it's only got to have one hiccup in it before you really fall. I mean, the fall will be huge and it'll go way down and it'll take another Brad Stevens-ish type person to bring it back out of that. So they've, it's just a tough situation. I mean, at some point you'd think they've got to find a donor or find somebody that helps them fork off the money for that.
Need like a T. Boone Pickens that helped Oklahoma State out along the way.
Yep, no doubt.
What was that kid from Kentucky that they paid that big salary to? A little short shooter. Can't think of his name. He had to be playing about when you were.
Travis Ford?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, T. Boone set him up, man, for a while down there.
Yeah,
he was making some nice bucks, but he's moved on. Hey, we've got Matt Weaver on the program today. Hopefully, he's at the airport traveling to Jacksonville, Florida, heading down to the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. I'm headed down to the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, traveling en route right now. So if it sounds a little off, we apologize. But head in that direction. But we need to take a quick break, see if we can get Matt on the phone before he boards his plane, and see when we get going. But stay tuned. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary, coming from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit today. We'll be back with that and more right after this.
Since I've been gone, I won't get tired, won't go astray.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. You know what that sound means. The Dream Weaver's with us. It is Wednesdays. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. Matthew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
I can't complain. I know we are both en route to traveling to Jacksonville, but one of us is driving and one of us is flying, and I am not in an airport.
Yeah, well, I'm flying, but actually I'm flying to Atlanta, and then me and a buddy are driving from there. So we're driving part of the trip, but we're doing most of it in the air.
Plus, you got to drive to Atlanta, so that means you have to go to the Atlanta airport, so you're in bad shape.
Yeah.
I will probably pass you before you get out of there.
I would not bet against that. I would not bet against you that happening.
When do you arrive in Atlanta?
We're going to get in around, I think, 12:30, and we got a rental car, and then it's like 4.5, 5 hours, something like that. So
it's
going to
be close
down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I'll be looking forward to that. A lot going on down in Jacksonville, Matt, with all the Bowl Week festivities. I know that today this evening there's a pep session or pep rally for the teams. They're doing so many different things throughout the week. What's been going on that you've heard about from the IU team?
Yeah, just kind of following them on. They've done a really good job. Their Twitter account of the stuff they've done. Obviously, they went to I think yesterday they went to like a military thing, a Navy ship or something, and then I think the day before that they went to Topgolf, and obviously they've had the practice and doing that stuff, and they had to put a tweet out about all the gear they got. Looks like they got some cool gear from for being in the Gator Bowl. All the players did, and so just kind of following their Twitter account. They've done a good job, and it looks like they're having a great time, and practice is going well. So just got to play the game and hopefully come away with a W.
Yeah, the game's a big important part, and I was talking earlier. Me and Todd were talking earlier this week, and I know that every coach wants to win. Everybody wants to win. But I don't think there's anybody on this planet that wants to win this bowl game like Tom Allen wants to win this bowl game, just because he's achieved so many firsts with his program this year, and there's nothing that he wants more than get that bowl win because it's been so elusive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've this season's really been a season about getting not every monkey off their back. Obviously, they still haven't, you want to maybe beat a Michigan, Ohio State or something like that, but they've gotten a lot of monkeys off their back and done some things that haven't been done in a long time. So, and obviously 9 wins. I think this would be the first time since is it the Rose Bowl season? Maybe I think this is the first time they won 9 games. It's only happened like 2 or 3 times in the history of the program. So not only that, it just gives you some momentum. It doesn't kill the season you have, but it gives you some really good mojo going into your winter workouts and obviously then going into spring ball, and obviously you still got a little bit of recruiting left to do, and then start recruiting on the next class, the 21 class. But there's just a lot of positives from it, and like we've talked about, it's the only game on Thursday night, and recruits that you're after who maybe couldn't watch you during the season because they don't get Big Ten Network or whatever, or just weren't able to catch you. Maybe they get to watch this game, and it's against an SEC opponent. There's just a lot of things on this game, and I mean, it would be huge for the program to get a victory on Thursday.
This is kind of off the subject, but not really. I'd heard this pop up a time or two, and I had someone message me yesterday, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But do you think there's any possibility that after the season that Peyton Ramsey would grad transfer to Fresno State to follow Kalen DeBoer, knowing that he's probably not going to be the guy next year again?
I mean, I think it's very possible that Peyton Ramsey does grad transfer. I mean, whether he goes to Fresno State or not, I mean, I can see that happen. I don't know their quarterback situation. I'm obviously not in tune with their program, but he knows this offense. He played well in this offense. If everybody's healthy, he's still the number 2 quarterback as well as he's played. I mean, Michael Penix is still the better player. I mean, that's just a fact. And he's going to be healthy in spring ball, and I expect Michael Penix to be the number 1 quarterback. So if Peyton Ramsey wants a for-sure starting job, I don't think it's going to be at Indiana. Now, we saw what happened with Penix this year with the injury issues and all that, but the bottom line is if he stays healthy, he's going to start every game next year for IU. And so if Ramsey wants to be a starter somewhere, my guess is he maybe explore some other options.
I agree. And I know that's one of the things that they're doing with Michael Penix is solely working to beat him up to get him stronger and better so he can withstand the rigors of the football season a little bit better than he's been able to thus far.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that's the thing. And I mean, he's got kind of a long, lanky kid. So there's only so much you can do. But yeah, he needs to get stronger. Really needs to get really in the lower half too. I think that's where I kind of noticed that he needs to get bigger and thigh, kind of that area, and then just overall. But I mean, they got great strength and conditioning staff in Indiana. That should happen as long as he's willing to put in the work. And I have no reason to believe he wouldn't be. So, but that is going to be a big part of it. Is getting him bigger and stronger. And then if Ramsey does move on, if that does happen, obviously get Jack Tuttle continue to progress. Just because as we've seen the last few years, more than one quarterback has played in Indiana. And that's that case in a lot of schools. It doesn't matter where you're at. More than one guy's playing because it's just guys get hurt. So they're going to really need Jack Tuttle to keep coming on and hopefully be ready to play if that comes up.
Absolutely. Todd, I know you didn't play football, obviously, but in basketball, in the NCAA tournament, when all that stuff's going on, it's not as big as far as the events that they have at these bowl games. But, man, when they're in these bowl games, they've got so many things that they've got them going to hospitals, going to events and team events and all that. And then you've got practice sandwiched inside of that somewhere. How hard is it as an athlete to kind of separate all that stuff that's going on outside of there and then get locked in when it's time to practice? Because this is a big deal, man. This is a big week.
Yeah, it was totally different, obviously, for football because you're there for so long. I mean, even in the NCAA tournament situations, Coach Knight kept us away from everything. So when when you would play in the NCAA tournament and you played like a Friday, Sunday, rounds, we would probably leave on a Tuesday. So that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we wouldn't even stay, near where the event was. We'd stay off at another campus or a military base or somewhere like, what you see a lot of the schools in football even doing right now. So he would keep us away from a lot of the hoopla. Plus, we weren't allowed to leave the hotel or really do anything. So at that point in the year, it was just a different approach. Like we wouldn't have had the Top Golf experience. We probably wouldn't have gone to the the Colts game and things like that. Now the military.
I was going to say you would have gone to the ship.
We would have gone to the ship. And you know what? Like I've told this story before. Like when we did that in Maui, still to this day, it's one of the coolest things that we ever had a chance of doing is going to visit some of those military things, and it was just one of the most cool experiences we had. But it's also one of the only few experiences that we had when we were able to travel and do stuff. So it's totally different, but I don't think these guys will have any issue with turning it on. Now, something I brought up to you earlier in the week, and I've seen it in a lot of these bowl games is especially the warmer weather climates, and you got schools coming from, like a Bloomington, when they're getting to those warm weather climates, we're seeing a lot of cramping and a lot of hamstring issues and things like that. And I definitely think that has something to do with the full month off that these guys have from game situations. And so I think that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Speaking of health, Matt, I know there were some guys that were out. Stevie Scott, one of the bigger names, of course. I've heard that Samson James is probably looking pretty good. I don't think that we're going to see Stevie Scott in this game from the way it appears, but I don't know that yet. What have you heard on the health of the team?
They seem to be pretty healthy at this time of the year. Obviously, they had some time off and to kind of get some wounds healed up. I mean, it doesn't sound like Stevie's practiced a couple days ago, so to me, that's not a great sign. I'm kind of with you. I think it's probably going to be Samson James out there on Thursday, which is a bummer, but, he showed what he can do. I mean, to me, this is a game where, Ronnie Walker's got to give him something. He doesn't have to be, the best player on the field, but he's got to give him a little bit of something just to kind of spell Samson every once in a while. And maybe you see David Ellis at running back some. They did that one time during the season. He looked pretty good. So, they're going to have to be able to run the ball. That's going to be important against Tennessee's defense, to kind of help out with the pass game. And obviously their pass game is kind of an extension of their run game with some of the throws they do with WAP and stuff. I think overall they're probably pretty healthy, but, I'm sure there's still some bumps and bruises this time of the year. And it's just, one more game. You got to suck it up for one more game and play through it. And like I said, try to get that win.
Well, in Tennessee, if you want to look at both sides of the ball, they probably had a better run on defense this year than they did offense. So that's going to be a great contrast because obviously Indiana was offensively oriented. It's going to be a good contrast. So getting that running game is, to me, going to be a big key in Indiana having success against the Volunteers.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's not one of those things where, I said it all year, it's not one of those things where you got to run for 200 yards and average, 5.5, 6 yards a carry. I mean, that would be great if you could do that. You just got to be efficient enough that it makes them, keeps them honest defensively. So you can get some of those matchups and some of those looks, for the passing game that you're hoping for. So, you can't go up there and be in a lot of 2nd, 9s, 3rd, and 8s. That's not going to be ideal for Indiana. You want to get some. I wouldn't be shocked if they come out and they throw the ball early. Like they kind of, like they did against Purdue and they've done some other games. They come out and they're really throwing the ball and maybe they try to later on in the game, start to pound them a little bit with the run game. So it'll be. It's going to be interesting to see what the game plan is from Coach DeBoer. Obviously, he's done a great job all year. I expect the same thing this week. But you're exactly right. You got to be able to run the ball a little bit, and then defensively, you got to be able to slow them down. Their pass game struggles to complete passes, not a high completion percentage. So if you can get them into some uncomfortable, situations, I think it really plays into IU's the hands of the IU defense.
When's your plane taking off?
My plane leaves at 10:50.
Oh, so you got a ways. You're in good shape.
Yeah. I'm actually here in the main part of the terminal. I haven't even gone through security yet, so it's not real busy. So it's not too bad today.
I think there's going to be a great crowd down in Jacksonville. Indiana sold out their portion of the tickets. I've heard they've sold over 55,000 tickets for this game. It should be a great atmosphere, Matt.
Yeah, actually, Mike Pigram, who runs our site, posted yesterday that somebody from the Gator Bowl told him yesterday that they're expecting over 60,000 people for this game. So it's really and I think Fred Glass said that they got 8,000 ticket allotment and those are almost sold out, which is obviously big for this game. But this is so big for future games, future bowl games, because Indiana can point to, hey, we travel. Our fans, I know, our crowd support doesn't look great at home, but we were at this bowl game, we gobbled up the tickets, our fans traveled, and it just makes you so much more appealing to future bowl games if they're kind of on the fence about who they want to select. And so it's a big deal that Indiana fans have done this, and kudos to them for coming out and buying the tickets and making the trip down.
Yeah, because I think that there's no reason Indiana should not be back in Florida next bowl season with the team they have coming back and the schedule they have. I think that they could actually be better next year than they are this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the schedule, especially the first, I think, 7 or 8 games, really sets up nicely. Obviously, you start at Wisconsin, which won't be easy. But I like getting them early in the season than later in the season. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough game no matter when you play them. But I kind of like starting off with them. They in past years they've kind of had some struggles early in the year, so might be a good time to get them. And then you get the next 6 games. You got a chance to win all those games. I mean, looking at 6-1, 7-1, I can't remember exactly how many it was, but there's a good chance after 7 or 8 games you're already bowl eligible. So. That'd be nice if that can happen. And then obviously the last 4 or 5 games are a lot tougher. That's when you're going to pick up Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. So it does get tougher. But if you can get some wins early on, it really takes the pressure off for those last half of the season.
Absolutely, Matt. Looking forward to seeing you in a few hours down in Jacksonville.
Okay, man. Safe travels.
Have a safe flight. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Yeah, everybody traveling. A lot of people traveling today. I know a lot of people that are traveling for the game down today. So, and as you heard Matt say, the Indiana has sold out their portion of the tickets, expecting nearly 60,000 people for this game. That bowl committee's got to be stoked, Todd.
Yeah, they do. I mean, and that's a great point that Matt brought up, and for future bowls, it's a big deal. This situation. This whole Indiana football season has worked out, to almost storybook for IU. And the fact of, this was probably the absolute top bowl that they could have expected to be in. The location of the bowl is perfect. The opponent is great. I mean, you're a perfect example. You're driving and you're talking to somebody that's flying. I mean, Indiana fans can jump in the car and get down there. There's a lot of Indiana fans in the Carolinas. There's a lot of Indiana fans in that Destin, Florida, and that, northern Florida area. So everything just kind of has worked out really well for Indiana. Now coming out and taking advantage of it and putting that good product on the field. I mean, we've talked about what a great opportunity it is for this whole program to be the only game in town, that night on TV. And heaven forbid to say this, but it can work against you if you go out there and don't look very good. So
you mean like Utah?
Yes, that's a great example. I mean, they've got a terrific opportunity right now, and so far they have really capitalized on a lot of those good opportunities. So let's hope they just continue with one more.
I don't think that they hurt themselves, but I think they can really help themselves, if that makes sense. Because most people don't expect much from Indiana already. So if they go out and they win, they're going to open up a lot of eyes by doing that. They've made a Florida Bowl. They made the Gator Bowl. Their fans came, and they won the game. That's going to open up eyes. And like another thing that Matt pointed out for future, because I do think this team will be back in Florida next year and possibly a better bowl like the Citrus Bowl because they can really have a season that far eclipses this one.
Well, it can if they have – if they have a similar season to what they had this year, which means they win all the games they're supposed to win, and then they add in, I mean, you've brought it up a couple of times, but they've got a good opportunity hopefully next year in beating either Michigan State or Penn State at home. And they get both of those teams at home. That would change this season. I mean, this season is Minnesota-esque, where they're ranked up in the top 15 if they had beaten a Penn State or even a Michigan State. They're up there in the top 25 and all of that. So, that's the opportunity for next year. They've got to continue to win all the games they're supposed to. Like you said, the schedule is not bad to start the season out, but then after that, they've got to have that one signature win, and that could propel them into that Citrus Bowl, opportunity to make it an even bigger bowl. And I think that they don't even have to win the game. I truly believe that. Like I told you with basketball recruits the other day, and football recruits are no different. They think they can come in and be the difference maker. And if Indiana puts a product out there that looks fun to play for, they've got, they're throwing the ball all over the field, they'll have an easier time signing receivers. If they're protecting the quarterback, they'll have an easier time, having their line, getting offensive linemen. And they obviously this year in recruiting had a great offensive lineman recruiting year. And so those types of things can really be a big difference. They just have to put a good product on the field. Win or lose, yes, it is great. Getting there is the real big deal for the recruits. The fact IU is now in the Florida Bowl. They just got to go out and put a fun-looking product out on the field, in my opinion.
Absolutely agree with that 100%. Hey, we got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Stay tuned. When we come back, it's out of our purview a little bit, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Walter McCarty situation down in Evansville. A little troubling, but we'll talk about that and plenty more. Stay tuned. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit. Back right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle and Larry here with you on this New Year's Day. Happy New Year, everybody. Wednesday, January 1st, 2020. Can you believe we're saying that? 2020.
No, it's crazy.
2020. Oh, my gosh. We're going into the third decade of the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no other way to say it other than no. It doesn't make any sense. I can't possibly be this old, but I am.
Man. Yeah, it's weird, man. Life is just a weird deal. So before we broke, I told you when we come back, we talk about, if you're not familiar with down in Evansville, Walter McCarty, he's an Evansville native, former player at the University of Kentucky, took the Purple Aces into Rupp Arena this year and knocks off the number one Kentucky Wildcats, and the biggest win in the history of Evansville basketball, and one of the biggest upsets in college basketball, if not ever, in a long time. So Evansville was riding high. Walter McCarty, man, he had to be just on cloud nine, and now, poof, it's all gone. Title IX problems for him. He has been suspended by the school, and it simply does not look good, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, that's we don't know a lot of the details, and I think that's on purpose. I don't think we're intended to know a lot of the details, but
we know enough.
You look at the situation overall, and you say anytime a school is willing to suspend a coach in the middle of the season, they probably have just cause in doing so. It doesn't mean he's guilty, doesn't mean they're going to fire him, doesn't mean anything else at this point, but they've got just cause to suspend him, because you just don't do that if you don't have a reason to. And so that part of it doesn't look good, but the real big negative side of it from their perspective is, they were riding high, just like you said. I mean, and what does that help? That helps recruiting, which helps the program get better players and helps the program win more. It looked like everything was headed in the right direction. And then this just whether no matter what happens out of it, this changes everything and derails everything that they had going in the right direction. And so now players, they're not going to commit because they don't know who coach is going to be there. And just all the different things that add on to this are negative. And that's why the school's going to want to get this cleaned up as soon as possible. That doesn't mean they get rid of Walter McCarty if they don't find just cause in doing so. It just means they're going to want to investigate it, figure it out, and get it put to bed as quickly as possible, because the longer this lingers, there's no way they're able to recruit and go out and find players to come there and commit. Yeah,
they've basically done a 180 from the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
from where they were
a month and 5 weeks after an incredible start to the season. They're headed completely in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that for them. It's a school that it's a proud basketball tradition. Of course, if you know anything about Evansville, you know about the plane crash in the 70s that basically wiped that program out. What a tragedy. They come back from that. You've had a lot of guys coach at that school that had Indiana connections, IU connections. As a matter of fact, Seth Setzer, the interim coach right now, former IU assistant.
Yeah, Benny, and he's a great dude. He's a good person. He'll do as good a job as you can imagine in this tough situation. And these players, I'm sure, will try to rally, around them and complete their season. That you look at it, obviously this is terrible for the whole program. It's awful for Walter McCarty, as an individual. That's terrible. It's bad for, I don't know what the details are, so I don't want to act like, it's not difficult for whoever the victim or victims are or whatever they are. I don't know what the victims could be, so they haven't given us any details. But for everyone involved, it's a negative. But Benny will do as good as possible. You look at the kids on the team who this might be their last season, as seniors, and that's the real tragic part of this from a player's perspective is, these guys' season was on such a high and they were feeling great about themselves, and now they just got, like I said, they got derailed and they're headed in a wrong direction, and that's tough to end your career.
How can the team put this behind and try to salvage the season that I don't know how good it could have been? I mean, when you beat the number one team in the country on their floor and it's a Kentucky, man, there cannot be a lot bigger high than that for them. But that would seem like they had a lot of positives coming forward for this season. How do they recover from that?
I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one because they've got they've got a lot of games. Since I don't know, it's just difficult. I don't have any experience with that kind of circumstance, and so it's difficult to figure out how they move forward and what they do. They've just got to, you got to man up. Life throws you weird situations. You just got to man up and figure out a way to get through it and focus and do the things that you're taught to do and playing basketball. And it's difficult. It's a tough situation. I mean, they're struggling. I mean, they lost a game to Missouri State, I think, yesterday. That's a game they probably should have won. They're struggling right now, and that's a program. This is not going to help them for the remainder of the season. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Joker sends a text in, a different subject. Maybe IU needs Butler's athletic director. I never thought about that, but that's not a bad suggestion.
Yeah, I mean I get it. That's just
yeah. It's a different animal, but I see I understand the
I understand what
process.
they're saying and where they're going with that. It's just totally different. I mean, think about something, and I'll take a ripping for this, and that's fine because the way I look at it is I can back it up with fact, but you look at this and outside of the 2 years of making it to the back-to-back Final Fours, I mean, Butler has had okay seasons. I mean, and their coaches have done good, and I think
they've been competitive, but they haven't achieved that mountain again.
Right. I mean, and they've really not even been close. And so, you can always sit there and argue it and say, where would they finish in the Big Ten, or would they have been any higher in the Big Ten than Indiana's been, and all that. And they play in a weaker conference. There's no arguing that. And they've finished. They have. It's not like they've run away with the conference every year since then. So they've been successful at the level they've played at. Let's put it that way.
For argument's sake, there's probably a lot of IU fans who would say, I would take that level of competitiveness over the last few years versus what
they say that right now, but they wouldn't. I mean, they wouldn't take that. My point is, if Indiana was playing in the Big East,
right?
There's a chance that they'd been in the NCAA tournament too, because they would have added probably 4 or 5 more wins every year.
That would be like Indiana football playing in the ACC.
What about the Big East? Yeah, they're not going to play in the Big East.
No, they don't have football, remember?
I know.
But absolutely, yeah. Lots going on, man. We're heading to Jacksonville for the Taxslayer Gator Bowl. Looking forward to Indiana taking on Tennessee tomorrow. I think Indiana's going to win that game, man. Speaking of games, there's a lot of games today, Todd. Today is the day, man.
It used to be the day, didn't it?
Talking about all these bowl games. Yeah, it's spread out, but
it used to be.
Yeah, it's still.
It used to be New Year's Eve and New Year's Day was almost all the bowls, and now it's spread out for about a full 5-week period, 4 or 5 week period. But today there's 4 games and every team is ranked. So this is supposed to be the New Year's Day
creme de la creme.
Yeah, the bowl games, and starts off early with a Big Ten team. Michigan and Alabama play at 1 o'clock today, so it gets off to a good start. But it's got it's pretty nice when you can look at the 4 games that are supposed to be the big games today, and you've got a Big Ten team in 3 of those games. So it speaks highly about the Big Ten and the season and quality of teams they've had this year.
What's the spread on the Michigan-Alabama game?
That would be Alabama by 7.5. Yeah,
there is no way.
The funny part is,
no way I would bet against them.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Not against Tim Harbaugh.
I said this all week long, and really, this is why the only reason why I think they should expand the playoffs to 8 teams is because there's a list of 4 to 10 players in each one of these games today of players who are not playing to prepare for the NFL workouts, and so. That takes away a bunch from a lot.
But do you think that they would play if there was an 18 playoff? I don't.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think
if they have a
because
chance
it's
to win
more
the national
games.
championship. If you've got a chance to win the national championship, without a doubt, you're going to play.
Yeah,
no question about it.
Good thought. Who's the next game on tap?
Minnesota and Auburn. That's also a 1 o'clock game today. I mean that'll I think that'll be a
fun Big
game.
Ten SEC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good point. That should be a fun one. I mean, I think that'll be the most fun game of the day. I mean, the going back to that Michigan-Alabama game. I mean, think about those 2 teams. You got a backup quarterback playing for Alabama, and you've got Michigan, who a lot of times struggles to score on the offensive side of the ball. What would you – the over-under in that game is 58.5. Doesn't that seem crazy high?
That seems very high to me. Only because I think if you've noticed these bowl game scores, they've all been really high. Most of them have been high-scoring games. You saw Penn State. Penn State put, 53 points on the board?
Yeah.
I mean, wow. Yeah, some of these teams are really adding the points. Texas goes hog wild last night.
Just Alabama and Michigan don't seem like those kind of teams to me. I mean, they'll be.
Oh, I get you.
One of the guys I don't know is playing. Is Jerry Jeudy playing for Alabama? Is that guy
Judy.
I
don't know, but what's his spread on the Minnesota guy? How much are they under?
Auburn by 7. Auburn by 7.
Man, I think that is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, I do too.
Minnesota's got a great offense. They've got great receivers. They can throw the ball. That's not something that Auburn sees in the SEC a lot of, but I don't know that they have the running game that they'll need to go along with that against Auburn. Auburn's got a good defense.
Yeah, their defense is good. It'll be then the 4 o'clock or the 5 o'clock game, the Rose Bowl, Oregon and Wisconsin. That'll be. That's the one most Big Ten fans, I think, will be looking forward to throughout the day.
What is that? What is that spread?
That's a Wisconsin by 3.
Really?
Interesting line. I thought so too. Yeah.
Now, see, and if I'm betting, I'm taking Oregon.
Yeah, I think Oregon. I think Oregon's got a lot to prove. I just never been a huge Wisconsin. I don't like their style of play. I don't like. They're always so running back dominated, and I'm kind of the typical today's college football fan. I like to see them throwing it all over the field, and I like long, big plays and guys running for long touchdowns and after catches. I mean, Wisconsin's a team that they're going to try to pound it down your throat running the ball, and that's boring to me.
And is the Cotton Bowl tonight, Penn State?
No, the Sugar Bowl is the late game. Georgia and Baylor's the late game. So you got Citrus Bowl, Outback Bowl, Rose Bowl, and Sugar Bowl all today.
Wow.
Yep.
The Big Ten has 3 teams playing today. The SEC has 3 teams playing today.
Yep. Not a surprise. I mean, I think they're looked at obviously as the best 2 conferences, and I think that's stuck to through the bowl games.
I don't want it to happen, but the Big Ten could go 0-3 today.
They could. That's it's definitely a possibility.
When does Penn State play?
Yeah.
They did. Played. Oh, that's right. They won, didn't they?
Not yesterday. Yeah, they played. We just talked about how many points they put up. Remember?
Yeah. There's too many games with it all running together.
Penn State played Memphis on Saturday. 53-39. Obviously, that was expected to be a high-scoring game, though. I mean, I think Memphis tries to let you score just so they can get the ball back and they could score. So that was a weird game, though, because you had Memphis with a bunch of different coaches than what they're going to have. They got guys moving on and doing stuff. So that's another factor. I mean, heck, did you see? You're looking at all these coaches going different places right now, and obviously that's expected. It always happens every year this time of year, but. It's just weird when you've got coordinators moving on and getting promoted, and you got coordinators being demoted, and all kinds of craziness going on. And I think
Jefferson's man moved.
Yeah, yesterday's Virginia Tech game, I think they had an offensive coordinator that had been demoted down to quarterbacks coach, and he was still there, and they weren't letting him call the plays, but he called the plays all year long. It was just strange. Like that's a weird scenario.
Wow, and their defensive coordinators. And that was the last game for their defensive coordinator, Virginia Tech, after 33 years.
Was it Bud Foster? Is that his name?
Yeah. He had to go out with a loss, man. You hate to see that. That's a long run, man. They've had a lot of success at Virginia Tech, and he's been there for all of it.
Yeah, it's Virginia Tech, and it's real close to West Virginia area. I mean, it's hard to feel real sorry for them.
That's your favorite place, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not a good place. Although they got a good golf course. The Greenbrier is a great golf course in West Virginia. I'll give them that.
And there's snowshoe for those skiers.
Yeah, not familiar.
Yeah, not you. Not your deal.
Nope.
Have you ever been skiing ever in your life?
I actually love skiing. I like it a lot. But the 2 times I've been skiing in my life, I've been out in Colorado, and and it was like 40 degrees the day that we went. Like I've been twice, and I've had 2 of the best experiences ever because I can't stand the cold, and it was warm, like we were skiing in sweatshirts. And I hate to ever go back and ruin it because it was awesome.
You see people out there in shorts, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I've had 2 good experiences, but I think I'll end my life. I'll probably, when I die, say I had 2 good experiences because I doubt I ever go again. I hear him talking, but I see his mouth moving, but I don't really hear anything out of him. But Jimbo? All right, well, we're not going to have him for the rest of the day, I don't think so. Anyway, thanks, everyone. I know it's been a kind of a weird technical show for everybody. We have had Jim on the road today on his way down to the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl tomorrow. Hopefully Indiana has a great performance with that, but we'll be back tomorrow morning to talk about that and final preparations. Indiana. Yep. All right. So everyone join us tomorrow, or actually we'll be back here in just a few minutes. I guess we got more coming up here on the show from Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back more after this.
Why did you stay last night? Oh, don't you hear me crying?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back, everybody. If it sounds different in voice, it is because it's me, Todd. Jim, we're having some technical difficulties.
Hey, guys.
There he's back.
Well, I kept trying to scream at you guys, just call me back. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could see your mouth moving, and we could see how mad you were getting, but we didn't hear you.
I was like, and I kept hitting the button. I'm like going, it won't unmute.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're back, because otherwise,
yeah,
you're gonna
welcome
have to
back.
listen to me.
I was sitting there with Dog Shack Dave, and I got my Heinz security detail. So I'm.
You're good. We're
good.
back. We're good.
Well, yeah, I thought you were going to take us out of the show, too. I was like, oh, no. It was hilarious because I'm sitting there screaming, don't end the show, man.
No, I ended it. And then I brought it back, and then I ended it again. Yeah. So.
Oh, man. Fun times. Hey, this is the era of technology, folks. Trust me. 5 years ago, though, we couldn't have done today's show. We wouldn't have been able to do it. I'm traveling to Jacksonville. We're talking to people that's traveling to Jacksonville. You're in a different place today. It's crazy, but we're able to do this, and it's amazing the things we can do now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's obviously it's changed when you consider I graduated college and the email wasn't even invented yet, and now we can host a show from 7 different locations. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, fun, tough. Looking forward to hosting it from Jacksonville tomorrow morning. Be down there. I don't know how I'd love to try to get as many people on tomorrow as I can. I'm not sure who all is going to be around. I'll be at the media hotel. So
what's the agenda? Yeah, what's the agenda for you guys down there tonight?
That's a great question, to be honest with you. There is for any fans that are heading to Jacksonville that'll be there tonight, there is a pep rally that's going on, so you have to look that up online. But tonight is the team pep rally, so they do all that stuff the night before, and all the game stuff's going to happen for the fans. Tonight will probably be the biggest night for the fans because it's the only last night before. My security detail just handed me the itinerary. Is this? This is game day schedule. They have the pregame. Oh, there's a pregame concert. Doesn't say who it is. It doesn't say.
Huh.
Shame on them.
Yeah, I mean, tonight will be the party of everyone getting together and being excited and all that. Hopefully tomorrow there'll be a bunch of celebration parties take place after, impromptu parties afterwards, celebrating a great win, and that would be, Indiana fans always travel well to all kinds of events, sporting events like this, but this is a big one. Like, this is different. Indiana fans have been waiting for this opportunity for a long time, and snatching up those 8,000 tickets as quickly as they did, obviously you can tell Indiana fans have kind of been hoping for this to happen for a while, and it finally did.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who live in Florida that are Indiana fans, and a lot of people are heading down. It's not too hard to get to Jacksonville.
Right. That's why I said earlier, it's the perfect location for this is the biggest bowl I think Indiana should have qualified for. So they I don't want to say lucked out because they put themselves in a good position for it, but they've just been very fortunate, and it's drivable. It's an easy flight. You can fly into several different airports and get to there, and it's about as good an opportunity as I think Indiana fans and school university could have asked for.
And they put enough of a product on the field this year that it gave the people some interest. Like, hey, these guys are fun to watch, and they're going to have a shot to win this game.
Right.
They really are. I mean, I do believe they're going to win the game. I'm not saying they're going to come down here and win by 3 scores. I think they're going to win the game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be like 31-27, 34-20, 31, something 38-34, something in that range. But I think it's going to be a tight game. But I really think that Kalen DeBoer is going to open the closet and let it all hang out, baby.
Yeah, I mean, they need to put something good out on the field. They need to look exciting and look like a good school to want to come and play for. And, they've done such an incredible job of recruiting the state of Florida. I mean, the fact there's 26 players on the team from Florida is just incredible. I mean, it's an astonishing statistic. So, this can only help in that regard. And I'm interested to see. I don't necessarily agree with Matt Weaver's assessment earlier that Peyton Ramsey. This is not his job going into next year and that stuff. Like, I don't necessarily. I'm not saying it is, but I'm also not saying it's Michael Penix's job either, because it'll be a totally different year. Everyone's assuming that Peyton Ramsey's not going to improve or get any better, and I think it was a close race. Kalen DeBoer actually is probably the guy who ended up picking Michael Penix, and he's not going to be here anymore. So, I think it's a lot more of an open job than what you and he both believe.
I'm going to take a different tact. That was a very well thought out and executed take on that. And you could be absolutely right. You're not, but you could be.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you brought up, you said someone brought up to you the fact that would Peyton Ramsey leave and go to Fresno State and follow Kalen DeBoer? No, Kalen DeBoer didn't pick him as a starting quarterback. Why would he travel? Why would he follow him and go out there?
One thing Matt said also, it depends on what their situation is. They may not have a quarterback, and if there's nothing that could be better for a coach that to have a guy to fill in a pinch, and that's what he would be. He would just be a stopgap measure for one season to get him past that one season. And he knows, now he's not Michael Penix, but he is very, very capable, and he knows that, and he trusts him, so he knows what he could do with him if the situation calls for it. It may not mean they may have a guy coming back that's like Michael Penix. Who knows?
Right.
I don't know what their situation is. I haven't looked into it. That would be the only reason, is if there is availability there. And I could see just for a season of him using him to get past that, and it would give Peyton Ramsey the opportunity to play his last year, because I promise you, he will not, unless Michael Penix gets hurt, he will not be the starter. There's just that much of a talent gap between the two. And it's not a knock on Peyton Ramsey. It just is what it is. That's like saying the difference between me and you in basketball. It just is what it is.
No.
There's a talent gap. There's a talent gap.
Yeah, but you just mentioned a much larger gap than what we're talking about.
It is a much larger gap, but there is a gap, is what I'm saying, is there's just a gap. It's much larger than between those two, but they still have the gap between them that Peyton Ramsey just simply cannot overcome, because the biggest difference between those two guys is arm strength. And Peyton Ramsey is a year ahead of Michael Penix, and he is not even close to competing with him in arm strength and velocity of throws and all that. He just can't catch it. Michael Penix has got this freak deal because he's not a big guy, but man, oh man, does he have an arm that can, like a cannon. It's a freaky deal. He can just throw that thing like a pill.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just simply stating something that's a fact, and that is, he took some hits this year. I wouldn't say he took some, devastating blows.
No, you're right.
And so, how confident can you be?
Can't be.
That he's. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not even sure. I don't know. I think it's more of a 50-50 job than you do. Uh-oh. Did we lose him for good now? Well, good. Now there's no way he can argue with me. But, this talking about the Michael Penix and Peyton Ramsey situation. Hey, you back now?
I guess I am. I said that. Yeah, I thought I lost it. I think this time I just don't think that Peyton Ramsey is going to stick around not hoping, but in the event that Michael Penix gets hurt, because that's the only way he's going to play.
Yeah, I mean,
I think, in my opinion,
I got you. It proved that way before. I mean, Michael Penix won the job, and believe me, from a college quarterback perspective, I much prefer. I think Michael Penix is a more exciting style quarterback to watch. I would prefer that style. I mean, he's almost Lamar Jackson-ish. It's one of those situations that I prefer that style of play. It's like up-tempo basketball versus Virginia. I prefer that style of play. But, I mean, he's just not proven. He didn't take any big hits, and he took some serious injuries.
No.
So.
Oh, I agree. That's the issue. Here's something else that I was thinking about last night that people keep forgetting. Peyton Ramsey was only the starter last year because Brandon Dawkins, who transferred in from Arizona, who was supposed to be the starter, flamed out and ended up flopping out and leaving school, and then Peyton Ramsey ascended back to the starting job again. So he was not expected to ever be the starter, and it just worked out for him to be that way. And thank goodness for Indiana that he was there, because they would be in a very, very poor situation without him.
Yep, no doubt about that. It's give you something to talk about all summer long. That's for sure. But I don't know if Peyton Ramsey. I don't know if Peyton Ramsey will leave. I just don't. I think he's kind of proven that he's going to stick around, and I just think he'll probably finish out there.
The one argument that I think that can be made for him staying is he's not playing at the next level. When he finishes college, his football days are done. But what he is going to do is coach. And so does he say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get a head start on my coaching. I'm going to stay here. I know I'm not going to play, but I'm going to try to soak as much of that in as I can. I'm going to be ready as a backup if that happens again. But I'm going to look forward to moving on. And he may be a grad assistant the year after he graduates at Indiana. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's just something to talk about.
Yep, it is. It is. We'll see. But let's just focus on tomorrow. He's our quarterback tomorrow. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I expect good things out of him. And that's another great thing. You've got a offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, who knows what he has. He knows how to blend him in with what they've done successfully because they've been pretty good at it. And it's amazing how good they've been without the ability to go deep because they really don't have that with Peyton Ramsey. But they've mixed it up so well and done so much that it really hasn't slowed them down much.
Yeah, I mean, they have done a fantastic job at utilizing the skills that Peyton Ramsey is best at. And, he doesn't have that arm strength, as you mentioned, and he's a little bit more accurate. He's more accurate at the shorter throws. Let's put it that way. But he's sneaky athletic. I mean, he comes up with those tough runs that picks up 7 or 8 yards that it doesn't look pretty because he's not like Lamar Jackson where he's holding the ball out with one hand and sprinting out of bounds, and before anybody touches him, he's taking big hits. But he seems to pop up almost every time and get back there. And he's sneaky athletic. He picks up those tough yards.
It's like Jake on the basketball floor. Sneaky athletic.
Yeah. I'm not giving Jake any credit till I see him play.
I'm going through the mountains right now. My ears are popping.
Are they?
Yeah, we're up here high on the mountain looking down on the city.
Well, we're jealous because it's going to be cold here today.
Well, it's not cold here, and it's not going to be cold where we're going, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
You definitely do.
What else I got going for us is we got a lot more show coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. We got plenty more to talk about. Thanks a lot for being with us. We'll be back with all that right after this at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary here on this Wednesday, January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. Jim Coyle with you. I'm headed to Jacksonville, Florida for the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Todd Leary here with us as well. Jake's at the wheel keeping us on the track as I'm headed down the backside of the mountains in Tennessee right now. What a beautiful view. Hope you're having a great day, a great week. And if you're headed to Jacksonville for the Gator Bowl, hope to see you guys tonight. Let us know. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know if you're headed there, where you're going to be. There's all kinds of watch events. There's the pep rally tonight, Todd. There's just all kinds of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, Indiana, the Alumni Association and Varsity Club and all those guys, they do a great job of preparing this stuff and setting things up for the fans to have the full experience while they're down there. And you know, like you said, it's been a while since Indiana's had a chance to play in a Florida warm weather bowl, I should just say, and this is a great opportunity. And the fans, like I said, selling all 8,000 tickets of the allotment right away. They've obviously taken advantage of it.
Jake brought something up when we were going off, or while we were off, and talking about when you were playing in the NCAA tournament, gifts and whatnot. And Matt talked about the guys down there getting a lot of swag. There's, within the NCAA rules, there's so much that can be given. But what's some of the stuff you guys got? What do you think they're getting?
Well, the funny part is when I say the things that we got, it'll be laughable and it'll obviously date myself and the time frame. But we used to get like
instead of getting a watch, you got one of those sundial, right?
No, we got Walkman radios and portable CD player and stuff like that. Like we would get some of that kind of stuff. But you always got
a cassette player. Did you say a cassette player? Did you say you got a cassette player?
It's pretty close to that. It's pretty close to that. But you'd get a lot of gear. That was the cool part. Like I still have things that I never wore from the Final Four and the NCAA tournament and all those kinds of things. So, one of the things that we used to do, remember IU used to put on the Indiana Classic and the Hoosier Classic. And, and those would be early season tournaments. Well, we used to always provide gifts to the other teams for those types of things. So it was almost like the NCAA tournament type of thing, where when the teams would come in here, they would get something that said Hoosier Classic or Indiana Classic and things like that. But, the real – when you're a kid like that, the thing you want gear and stuff that you can wear around. I mean, you want stuff that says Gator Bowl on it. That
swag,
they're going to hang on to. Like, if I could give them any advice, I'd tell them right now to try to get an extra one or two of whatever there is and put it away. Put it away and don't get it out for 30 years, because at that point, then it becomes really cool. I mean, I've got I've got totes worth of stuff in here that's stuff from the Final Four that the tag's still on it. I never even taken it out of the box and stuff. That makes it kind of cool.
Yeah, I've seen your girlfriend Jessica wear some of your old jerseys because apparently you can't wear them anymore.
No,
but
it's not apparently. That's a fact. It is a fact. And if I did wear it, no one would want to see that.
Oh, yeah, it's always fun to go back and look at that stuff. You're like, how the hell did I fit into this?
Yeah. That happens daily now.
Speaking of basketball, of course, Indiana off until Saturday as they travel to Maryland to really kick off Big Ten. I mean, they've already started Big Ten play, but to really get in back into road play on the road, a tough opponent, a tough environment, and coming off of a tough loss and coming off some tough words. Archie admitted in the press conference that there are times out there the guys are not doing what they're supposed to be doing that they've been asked to do, so it kind of sounds like he does not have complete control of that team.
Yeah, I mean
that's not that. I don't really know if that's the right way to say it,
right?
But I think you know what I'm trying to say.
I know that's not how you're trying to word it, and I don't want it to come across like we're trying to make a bigger deal out of something. Right. I'll say this, and I'll make kind of a big deal about this. Like I will say, not just because they lost, but the Arkansas game, there was some weird vibes going on about that. Like the whole Rob Finney thing. Almost airball and 2 free throws and not being in the game at the end. And, Coach Miller, I think, was overly and excessively being positive about a lot of stuff that was going on when there were mistakes being made. And it's almost like they're just, I don't want to say the guys are fragile, but right now I think their confidence is struggling, and it didn't really need to be. They're 11-1 going into the game.
I was getting ready to say they've had the season that they've lost once.
I mean, did you see the tweet that Deron Davis put out yesterday?
Yeah, and I just shake my head at that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you like. I almost don't want to comment on it because I don't know enough about it, and I don't know him personally, and
especially
stuff like that.
Coming from a guy who's playing 2 minutes a game.
Yeah, it's just strange. Like him commenting about no one understands the stress level that we go through. I mean, yeah, I get it. If this is the most stress he's going to be under in his life, he's going to be doing good. Yeah, when you hear coaches in today's world talk about, players today are different than they were, back a long time ago, back in the day.
What they mean is they're soft, is what you're saying.
I'm not going to go out and say that. I'm just going to say that.
I will say that.
I know you are. I know you will. But, Deron,
and it's not just basketball players. It's just people, kids today, period. They're soft.
I can say that I do know the stress level that they go through. And I can say I know, I do think about, I bring this up to you all the time, but I do think about the team and the practices and the stuff that they're doing on days that are not game days. I mean, the game days are easy. The game days are the fun part of everything. The other days are not fun. Like that's what a lot of people, that's one of the things I try to get people to understand. And I think that might be what Duran's alluding to a little bit. I mean, the days after, a game, even if it's a win, I mean, it's just a weird, you're already preparing for the next game. There's no celebration. There's no feeling good about, what you've already done. It's in the past. You got to move on, and it's time to start preparing for the next one. And it's different. I don't want anybody to act like I'm trying to make you feel sorry for them, but when you really think about the whole life in general, it's not all roses. It's not all as easy as everybody on the outside just may think it is. And I think that might be what Duran's alluding to a little bit more. He just expressing it in a weird way, I thought.
Yeah, in a weird manner. I don't think personally a player should be.
Social media is not the way to go. Yeah,
especially in the middle of the season.
I'm going to tell you right now, if we didn't have social media, have social media, thank God.
You wouldn't have had a choice.
A statement like that would, I mean, he'd have got kicked off the team. Like there ain't two ways about it. Like he wouldn't have been, his locker would have been cleaned out. Like
his pressure would have been over.
You just can't say things like that. It's just, that's today's world. It's just a different thing. I'm not trying to live in the past. I love all the new technology and stuff. It's just that kind of thing. I mean, the kids have got to be a little bit smarter. And he's an older veteran player. He's got to be a little bit smarter about how he approaches things like that.
Well, him saying that again, what baffles me is like, dude, you're playing like 1 or 2 minutes a game. You're not even involved in the game. What are you being pressured about?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the whole thing in general. You know, I mean, everybody feels the loss. Everybody. I mean, Cooper Bybee is not happy with the loss. I mean, they feel it. They go through the hard practices. You know, it's almost even worse. You can't affect the outcome, and you still get penalized for, you know, all the negative that goes along with it. So,
do you think Archie's starting to feel the pressure? Is he putting is that maybe a sign that pressure's been exerted? Archie's got to start feeling pressure. I mean, there's a lot more stuff being said on social media now. It's that honeymoon is starting to wane.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I just I think Indiana fans are going to do that no matter what. I think they could be undefeated right now, and people would not be happy with the way that they won. And that's happened. I mean, in 11 victories this year, I mean, there's still been, everybody complains about the schedule or complains about, you know, how they played, or they didn't do this, or they didn't stop that, or whatever. I mean, that's a fan's right, and I'm not blaming anybody. That's why we are Indiana basketball fans. We love that. We look at it differently than the other fans do, and we take pride in that, and that's fine. But Archie, I don't think he's feeling the pressure. I think he's probably trying to do things different because, you know, so far I don't think he's getting out of his team what he wants to get out of his team. And so I think he's probably trying some different motivational tactics.
If whatever's going on led Duran to make that post yesterday, I mean, this has got to be a long week for those guys.
Yeah, like I've said it for the last couple of weeks, this schedule sucks. Like this, from a player's perspective, the schedule Indiana has been terrible. I mean, they're going to have 3 games from the 13th of December. They're only going to play 4 games all the way to the 4th of January. I mean, that's awful. That's almost, you know, that's almost 4 weeks. It's 3.5 weeks of just terribleness. It's awful.
And I noticed at the end of the month, there is a stretch, I think, of 12 days that they play 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the end of January.
It's the opposite.
They go at Penn State. So from January 29th to February 13th, they go at Penn State, at Ohio State, Purdue at home, and Iowa at home. So, you know, I've broken the schedule down. I think I went out on a limb and said 14 wins in the Big Ten that I thought Indiana would have, and then I backed it down last week to 12. But when I go down,
is it down to 10 yet?
No, I'm at 13. I'm sticking with 12 to 13. I think they're going to be right around that area.
I think 9's the ceiling.
9?
9.
That wouldn't even be winning all their home games and winning no road games. You don't think they'll win any road games?
Yeah. Well, they play at Minnesota.
They play at Rutgers.
That's not a guarantee.
They play at Nebraska. None of them are guarantees, but those are games that at Rutgers and at Nebraska are back-to-back home games, and they should win both of those. Like, those are should wins. At Purdue, at Illinois, those are very possible wins. You know, I mean, Purdue, and I'm not ripping Purdue because they're Purdue. I've enjoyed watching Purdue over the years. I like Matt Painter. Everybody knows that. I mean, I like watching their style of basketball sometimes. This team's not that good. I mean, this team, this Purdue team, talent. This Purdue team is not near. I mean, having Carson Edwards last year, you know, that was.
He was a baller.
What was he? He was probably 40% of their scoring.
Oh, he was a baller.
Time. So yeah, I mean, they're just a different team. I mean, Indiana's going to have a solid 6 opportunities to win on the road. And they'll take advantage of some of those. It'll be okay. So you want just talking hypotheticals? If they go on another streak like they did last year, and it doesn't have to be 12 in a row, but if they don't win any of these road games that I'm talking about, yeah, there'll be some pressure. There'll definitely be some pressure at that point.
Especially when you add the fact that there will be a new athletic director in place after the season. It won't be till after the season. But you have to know, boy, if that were to happen and then a new AD comes in, that cannot be a comfortable situation.
It can't be, but I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that they're going to make any kind of coaching change. Even if they lose, every game for the rest of the season, they're not going to be any coaching change. So people can get that out of their mind, and it shouldn't.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't be. But this team is capable of being good. We have seen, we talk about all the negatives of all the bad stuff they do on the court. They have shown the ability to be pretty good, and so. When you have that capability, the expectation level goes up, and my expectation level is up. And if they don't meet it, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and make any excuses about it. If they don't meet it, they're not gonna have played to their abilities.
That's right. He said.
That's right.
Exactly what he said. I'm with you. I'm following. I'm not going against the grain. I'm like, I'm going with it. I'm gonna let it float and see what happens. I mean, I hope it does. I'd certainly like to see him be successful. I'd much rather be broadcasting from an NCAA tournament at the end of this season than not, I assure you.
Yeah, for sure, because we aren't broadcasting NIT games.
No.
We're not making any NIT trips. That's a fact.
That's a rule.
That is a rule.
The one good thing is the Big Ten Conference tournament is in Indianapolis this year. I don't have to go back to Chicago, so that helps out. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, it's just like Indiana going to this bowl game. Look at the fun and excitement it creates. And, the IU fans, they were used to going to the NCAA tournament. That was like me being in high school. I knew we were going to the regional every year. Because I went to the regional, and I knew we were going to North or Lawrence Central, or wherever those crappy teams were. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, you're just trying to provoke me, and it ain't going to work today. It's 2020. It's 2020. I'm new attitude.
It's a new life. It's a new leaf.
It's the new Todd.
I love it.
It's the new Todd.
But yeah, but IU fans, they were used to that, so that was an every year thing. Man, like, all right.
That's why my first thought, this is where my mind is still trained in that way, and that the loss to Arkansas in my mind. I'm already thinking about seeding. I'm already thinking about, how high a seed. The seeding is such an important factor in all of this when you get to the NCAA tournament and having a chance to win a national championship. And so that kind of game in my world, in my train of thought, can definitely hurt your seeding. They're going to bring that game up when back in middle of March, when they're figuring out what seed you're going to be, that game's going to be brought up to Indiana. Now, if they don't play well enough to get into the tournament, then we'll be talking about a whole nother list of issues, because this team's good enough to be in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know that it doesn't matter at all, but Joe Lunardi, he does a pretty good job of nailing those seeds, and now he does it. Now he does it throughout the season. So you can look at any time and see where they're projected to be, and right now I think they're probably projected around a 7 seed, which most of the Indiana fans would take in a heartbeat over the last several seasons, but of course that doesn't mean anything. That's before the meat of the Big Ten schedule has happened. We'll see what it's like in March, but they're in pretty good shape right now if they can hold serve and do the things that you've talked about, winning the home games, stealing a road game here and there. If they can do that, they will be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to talk about the possibilities, because We're all this way. This is not Indiana fans. This is people in general. But we're all sitting there talking about, how high a seed they can possibly get, and then they lose to Arkansas, and we're talking about, there's a good chance they don't make the tournament, and then they can go and have a couple of, get a road win at Maryland, and or get on a streak and win 6 or 7 in a row in the Big Ten, and all of a sudden we'll be talking about being a 4 seed again. And so it's finicky. Fans are finicky about it, but it's warranted. I mean, the team brought this on themselves. I mean, they are, they lost that game to Arkansas, and so they brought this on themselves. The reason why people are talking negative right now is because of the poor play, and they can fix that in a hurry. They get an opportunity Saturday, that's for sure.
I'm crossing the Tennessee River right now, my friends.
Oh, we're so on the edge of our seat.
I just thought I would let you know a little geography, a little travel news.
We need one of those little things where like people track Santa. We need a gym tracker. We need
There
a
you
coil
go.
tracker all the way to Jacksonville.
Exactly. Do you know what I'm looking forward to more than anything, besides an Indiana win in the bowl game? Other than that, there is one thing and one thing only. All I care about.
It's going to deal with food.
Yes, it does deal with food. Yes, it does. There is one place that has been on my mind. I'm wearing the hat, which you guys listening can't see it, but I got my Whataburger hat on.
Whataburger.
And I cannot wait to get me some Whataburger, man. I am so jonesing. Most people now know what Whataburger is. Some people don't. Some people are still sad and living in the dark ages. But, Whataburger is a chain that's only in the South and Southwest, and it's the greatest hamburger chain known to mankind.
It is one of the most overrated burgers in the history of burgers.
Full of crap. You're so full of crap.
In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out Burger.
And Whataburger. They are both the most overrated, ridiculous.
No, In-N-Out's overrated.
Marketing schemes in the history of the world.
I agree with you. In-N-Out.
What's that, Jake? Yeah, steak and shake. Freddy's is better than all of those.
Steak and Shake's closing down, man. Come on.
Freddy's is they're closing down because Freddy's is taking over.
What's Freddy's?
What?
Well, I've never heard of Freddy's.
There's one open at Bloomington.
Oh my gosh, son!
My security detail just said there's one open up in Bloomington.
Your Whataburger fascination and infatuation is getting ready to go out the window because once Freddy's opens up, you will experience a whole new level of burger.
Why isn't Freddy's one of our sponsors then?
Because they're not open yet. As soon as they open in Bloomington, we'll get you rolling. We'll get rolling.
Oh, perfect.
They are open in Evansville, though. They are open in Evansville, though.
Boom! There you go. I love it. Where are they from? I've not heard of that chain.
I do not know. I don't know. But let me just tell you, it puts Whataburger to shame. Like, it's not even close.
Oh, come on, man. They don't have spicy ketchup.
Yes, they do.
Whataburger fries.
Yes, they do.
They don't have Whataburger. We'll see. I'll give it I will give it a fair and impartial analysis, and I'll give an honest answer. In-N-Out. Right. I'm not an In-N-Out fan.
What, Jake? Wichita, Kansas. There you go.
Wichita, Kansas. Well, that's the home of the beef, man.
It's legit. I promise you.
Joker's on your side on the Whataburger, but
man.
Joker,
that place
you don't know what you're talking about.
That place is so overrated. It is ridiculous.
Y'all don't know what the heck you're talking about. Man, you guys just you have poor taste.
In-N-Out Burger and Whataburger have a marketing scheme on people. I don't even understand what it is because both the restaurants are dirty and gross. So I don't understand.
That is so not true. You can't say that.
Dude.
You can't say that on this show because they may be one of our sponsors one day. I love Whataburger. I hope they're listening. Whataburger, I love you.
Go for it.
Oh, man, I am looking. Hey, but I will say this. The Whataburger was purchased by a group out of Chicago. You know, they're a Texas chain. But in order to expand. So one day, so you're saying there's a chance. One day we will have Whataburger.
Yeah, well, we got Freddy's now, so we don't need to worry about it.
Well, hopefully in break somebody can run out to Freddy's and grab me a burger. That would be awesome. I'm getting hungry, so let's move on. We got to take a break, man. You made me so hungry thinking about Whataburger and Freddy's and all that. Now I'm starving as we're on the trail to Jacksonville, Florida to see Indiana taking on the Tennessee Volunteers in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. That comes up tomorrow at 7 o'clock, ESPN. The only game in town, so if you're not there, of course, hopefully you'll be watching it on the tube. And then, of course, we'll be coming to you live from Jacksonville tomorrow. Talk more about this, see who all we can get on in the morning. But looking forward to all that. But we got lots more to come back and face the show out. Stay tuned. You're listening to us here on the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit. Back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Tom, finally, there's a man here that gave you the keys to the car a couple of years back. You brought in recruiting classes, you've won, you're standing here ahead of the Gator Bowl. What would you tell your boss?
Well, thank you, and this means a lot when people believe in you, So I'm an emotional guy, but I just appreciate it. It means a lot. It's my home. It's personal. And he believed in me when maybe some others would not have. And so I want to do a great job for him, for IU, for my home.
Tom Allen, Indiana football coach. That was Tom Allen, Indiana's football coach, talking emotionally about the support that he's received from Fred Glass, from the people around him, and he means it, man. He means it. Well, I think we were talking about this yesterday, Todd. He's not going anywhere, even not that he was in danger of going somewhere, but he wants to be in Indiana. That's the one good thing they have in him or not the one, but one of the good things. He wants to be here. So if he does continue to raise the level of play at Indiana, if he continues to succeed, I don't think this is going to be something he's looking at using to jump to another school. This is where he wants to be, because if he's being successful 5 years from now, they must be doing pretty damn well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the pride that he exudes when he just says Indiana University football coach Tom Allen. I mean, that's not fake. He's not, he's not just putting on a show for people. I mean, he loves it. He believes it. He's a football guy. He's an IU football guy. He loves every aspect of being IU's football coach. And so, when he gets emotional like that, that's funny because, you get in those circumstances and he's in the heat of the moment and people are asking him questions and he is so thankful. and you got to love that. I mean, you love he'll laugh at himself over getting that emotional about it at some point. But you know what? It'll probably happen again. And that I love that as a fan. That's what you want. I mean, you don't want somebody looking at your alma mater in your school as a stepping stone to get to a bigger place. I mean, you want that to be their dream job, and it is definitely his dream job. And so it just makes you feel good, and it makes you root that much harder for him.
Yeah, if you ask, and many people have, how does a guy who had no experience as a head coach, how does a guy who has as little background as he has as far as being a leader like that, how does a guy who coming off the back-to-back losing seasons and no bowl games, how does a guy like that get the recruits that he has gotten? Well, if you talk to him, if you listen to him, you'll understand a little bit better on how he's achieving that, because these guys believe in him, because he is one thing, if nothing else, and that is genuine.
Yeah, he is. And he, when somebody's a salesman, it kind of stands out, and you kind of can pick up on that right off the bat. When somebody's
so great.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. When somebody loves something and they're genuine about it, and you can tell, and they have a passion for it that is undeniable. People also can read that as well, and people are not stupid a lot of times, and recruits read that. They understand that when he walks out of your house, I will bet you even a lot of the recruits that didn't end up even coming to Indiana still had an enormous amount of respect for Coach Allen, and I'll bet they looked at Indiana's football program differently just because of how he presented it to him and how he sold it to him and his belief in himself and his staff and his players. And so, he develops that love each other mentality. And it's not just becomes a way of life. It's not just a little motto that you go by. I mean, it is what it is. And those guys all are out there playing for each other and having fun. And boy, I'll tell you what, it doesn't take long before that starts to sell itself. And you add in his passion. They've got a great thing. They've just got to keep capitalizing on it, keep building on it.
I would venture to say, if you could go and ask, of the players he recruited hard that did not come to Indiana, if you had to ask them what was the hardest part of their recruitment, I would say it was probably having to tell Tom Allen, you're not coming to Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to have, and believe me, I'm one of those people that I think kids.
And that sounds crazy. I'm the first person to admit that sounds nuts.
Yeah, I think kids are very smart in doing all their due diligence. Just because a kid doesn't pick Indiana University doesn't make him a bad kid, doesn't mean, he's not tough enough, or doesn't mean whatever. It might just not be the right fit. And, I played with guys in basketball who it just wasn't the right fit. It's not the right school for them. There's also some guys that I think Indiana passed on that it would have been the right fit, and they would have fit in great there, and they might not have been rated high enough. But there's so many aspects that go into it, and I will bet you one thing. I bet you that those kids who choose to go to another school, they've got a darn good reason why they're choosing that other school, because it's not like Tom Allen is walking out of their house and they're saying, well, I have no interest in going to that place.
That's a great question. Who are some guys that you did not play with that you would have liked to have played with, or you think would have been a great addition to the team?
Eric Montross, end of the story, no question about it. I mean, Eric Montross would have not only been awesome for our team and made us so much better. I mean, he would have been a great Indiana Hoosier. And the guy went to North Carolina. He won a national championship. He played in the NBA for 11 seasons. You can't argue with the decision that he made, but he's also from the state of Indiana, and I think it would have been a great decision for him. I think his life would have taken a different turn, in that he would have lived his life in the state of Indiana. He's lived in North Carolina since he got out of the NBA, so it just would have been a different scenario. But he's a guy who could have taken it. It's 100% my fault. There's no doubt about it. I blame me. I blame me. Trust me. My career would have been different had Eric gone there. But I mean, he's a guy.
Did he commit to North Carolina before you were offered?
No. No,
I couldn't remember.
He still had Michigan, Indiana, and North Carolina all in his final. However many there were, I don't remember there were. He hadn't ruled anybody out, but he hadn't committed anywhere yet either. Yeah, I mean, I'm not stupid enough to think that it wasn't a part of my recruiting. I mean, I'm no idiot. If I didn't,
I wasn't asking that.
No, I'm telling you, if somebody doesn't think that, they're crazy. I would have thought it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, but yeah, it would have been nice. But there's a lot of guys that would have been nice to see them. Sean May, it would have been nice to see him in an Indiana uniform.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. I disagree with you, but I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah. Well,
that can't do anything but get me in trouble. But no,
I understand.
You know, it takes a certain toughness and type of player, and I'll just say I don't think he was that.
Gotcha. We'll let that one roll.
Yep.
Anybody else you'd like to have played for? I mean, was it just Eric? Because I know you played high school with him, so you had such a connection with him. But anybody else maybe that wasn't as close that you said, man, it would have been cool to play with him?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to say that because
not that you didn't like who you played with. That's not what we're saying.
No. I know you're not saying that. I'm saying like I would pick guys who like I played AAU with, like Matt Painter. Matt Painter was a fun guy to play basketball with. He was a fun dude to hang out with. Also, besides that, but he was a fun guy to play with. I enjoyed playing with him.
Did Indiana recruit him?
Yes. The scholarship that I got basically came down to Matt or me. And one of us would have gone to IU and the other one would have gone to Purdue. And it could have.
How funny is that? That is just the funniest thing to me. I mean,
it's crazy.
Life is just a weird thing, man. It's just hilarious. I mean,
the flip of the coin and how things could have gone. I mean, that's why I'm saying when it comes down, I mean, Matt and I we're different kind of players because he was taller, but I could probably shoot better, but he could probably defend. But I mean, we're different kind of players, but we're also similar enough for there to be a little bit of a coin flip in that. And that's why I'm saying when you add Eric Montross as a possibility with me, if I come there's a possibility Eric follows me, that would definitely give me an advantage over a Matt Painter in that scenario, just because Montross was that big of a recruit.
I can't wait till Indiana plays Purdue and get Painter on the show and tell him how much you have said you were a better player than he is.
Well, trust me, when we get him on the show, I will not say near as nice of things as I'm saying about him right now. I will.
Oh man, him and Hoiberg. Did you play with Fred?
No. Fred was at Iowa State, and he was, I think, 2 years younger than me, but we never played against them. I mean, they were, Iowa State's much better now than they were back then. I say that. I do kind of remember playing against them one year, but it might have been my redshirt year. I don't think I made that trip. I think we went to Iowa State maybe one year. I'm not sure. But I know I didn't go there and play. Uh-oh. Did we lose him? No, there he's back. There he's gone again. There he's back.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end. I can't believe. I got to be honest with you. I can't believe it's. We probably shouldn't push our luck anymore. I believe it is in this great. Play some show for Jacksonville. What are you saying?
Yeah, you're sounding a little bit like a robot. We can hear you now, but we probably better not push our luck, like you said, and tie it up.
D2. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We appreciate everybody joining us. Thanks a lot to Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. Everybody heading down to Jacksonville tomorrow for the Toxlayer Gator Bowl. Indiana takes on Tennessee. Plenty of bowl games today to take care of, to watch as well. So we'll have that to talk about. But lots to do tomorrow as well. But guys, we really appreciate you. Look forward to it. Thanks, Jake, for keeping us on the track, and my broadcast partner Todd as well for keeping us in line. Guys, have a great day. Happy New Year. And until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.